On the agenda, allocation of Thames Community Board 2023-24 discretionary budget. Anybody want to open the batting? Yeah, okay. Right, see what happens. Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to ask on Rosalind Ward, our area manager, to make a few comments.
So this is item 2.3, the allocation of Thames Community Board's 23-24 discretionary budget. The purpose of this report is to allocate the remaining budget, which is $16,607. Would approve the location for 2 signs and a picture frame. So we have gone ahead and had the signs plus the proposed sign for the Poppet Head in Grahamstown. We've had it all priced, and the pricing has come back more expensive than we expected. So the minimum sign cost is $12,000 for 1 sign, as opposed to the budget that was approved where we thought that that would cover more than one sign. Hence the suggestion today that we rescind that recommendation and revisit that as a project, a signage project, and work through a way of how we could achieve more, achieve what we would like to achieve, but not at that cost.
Thanks, Chair. Regarding for signage cost, how many quote we had? Quotes?
Oh, there was only one quote from the company that was recommended.
So it's worth it to get maybe a couple of more quotes?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure. Okay.
Yes, we'll do that.
Thank you.
I would also, no, thank you. I would also suggest that the landscape has changed slightly in that when we made the decision about needing that visitor information sign at the Civic Centre there, Destination Hauraki Coromandel were the occupants of the former eyesight, whereas we're actually going to be having an information centre in that space shortly. And so perhaps a freestanding sign is not what we need now, but rather a display within the window of the. So I mean, I wonder if maybe keeping some of that budget to allow for that, because the information is still the same. But as I said, the landscape has literally changed. And the other thing I'm really aware of is that we've got a community notice board immediately adjacent to the visitor information centre and to immediately to the left of the doors into the Civic Centre. And that's at the moment, I think it's been difficult to use because there's been no easy way of getting people, an ordinary member of the public will have trouble finding a way to put things in there. And so I do wonder if we've got other options as opposed to freestanding. Yeah. But I don't know how much that would cost, unfortunately. So I wonder if we should keep some of the budget and allocate some of the others.
Right, Councillor Rodley.
Yes, very much support what Councillor Sinclair said, and potentially, yeah, some sort of screen, and I don't want to get to great deal of detail, some sort of screen type thing, either inside what will be the new old information centre, or actually on that, within that community board space, would seem potentially a way cheaper, than a sign there. So yes, I would very much support point 3 recommendations, point number 2 about revoking the resolution to allocate 10,000 to visitor signage, as long as it was visitor signage was specified that it was the freestanding corten steel poppet head, just to make it really plain that it's not the signage up on street poles that we've already done. Does that make sense?
So yeah, so what you're
More specific.
So what I'm hearing is the suggestion that there's other opportunities, and one is the community notice board and also the window display in the information centre and possibly screens inside. That could be achieved after the 1st of July with another budget in the new financial year, or alternatively we could estimate today and grant some funds to Thames Business Association if you prefer to do that. This budget requires spending by the 30th of June, and so we would need to work on that this month.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I don't think we need to delve into the finer details about whether we've got screens and that in the room. There is a comprehensive concept plan that's been developed for the eyesight, and I think we need to wait and see if that gets rolled out first before we discuss that. Basically, what we've got in front of us now is the residue of the discretionary budget we had beginning of the year, and the very thing I was concerned about that we'd end up with this money and trying to scuttle it off at the end of the financial year, which is a bit disconcerting because I raised this issue right at the outset that we don't end up with a almighty rush just to get rid of money at the end of the year. But at least we're spending money, unlike the previous board, which dropped their $20,000 each year and didn't use it. So, yeah, there's a big sigh there. But the discretionary budget wasn't used. So we really want to break this down. The first thing is that option 1 or option 2 are dependent on revoking the resolution of the $10,000. Is that correct?
No,
Right. It's not.
no.
I swear to God, you told me in the pre-meeting meeting that we were to
It's
drop that $10,000 if you wanted
it's how
things
you
like
would like. It's how you would like to spend that money. So if you decide that you would like to rescind that resolution from November around the $10,000 for visitor signage, it means that the budget will increase to $27,607, which
Right.
means you could split that up among those options. And you like, for example, if you wanted to fund number 1, 2, and the line marking in number 3, plus option 2, that you would have some residual funding of $3,267. So depending on how you want to allocate it, you may have a little residual or not, which would go into retained earnings.
Everybody clear on that? Okay, we propose to put the first 2, the Thames Community. Oh, sorry.
Just thinking about the youth allocation, and I think it's really good that we do things for youth. So that is under option 1, the points 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
Where I'm now looking specifically at number 1, which is the allocation of 6,000 to Parawai School to arrange advertising of youth programs, events, initiatives for 6 months. Where does that come from?
So Robin, would you
And
like
I guess
to
where I'm going with that question is, having just had TRAC come and present to us, knowing that they are wanting to do things for youth in town and are all thinking of activities and events and so on, and have specifically mentioned Christmas in the Park, whether that sort of funding at that level should go to a broader thing. That's my question.
I'm really happy to speak to this. So the reason it says Parawai School is because they would be the account holders, but this is from something that came out of the advanced learners. You know, we have the 13 kids from primary schools, year 7 and 8 come, and Holly and Martha and I have been talking to them for the last 3 terms. And one of the things that they said when we gave them blank bits of paper and we asked them what it is that they want and how they want to engage is they said that they would like an opportunity to have targeted advertising at them in a newspaper, because, you know, one of them was really honest and said, look, I'm out and about and I see a poster for something that I want to go to, don't have a phone, I can't remember what it is, and so I go home and I tell my mum, oh, there's an escape room, and she doesn't want to let me go because she doesn't know any of the details. So we came up with this, and the only reason it says Parawai School is because the principal of Parawai School would be the account holder, but it would be all schools in the whole ward, so all the way from Whakataya up to Tapu School would all be part of this. And so, yeah, it's the fact that it says Parawai School, it's not for Parawai School, it's for advertising that would target youth and children across the whole ward.
So thanks for that, and that's really cool. Perhaps then we've got a strategic question about how do we support youth, and do we do it, or do we throw our lot into an umbrella thing like TRAP and so on? But
I think that's a really good question. And when Kitchen asked that question today of the group, they haven't really yet identified what their needs are, other than togetherness. And so once they get to that point, then we'll be more in a better position to be able to listen and consider those.
Right, Councillor Rodley.
However, I do see some potential crossover because there would be absolutely nothing to prevent TRAP at whatever stage they're at from putting an article or a call out to do whatever into that space. We're not saying that just has to be limited to the Advanced Learners Program. Yeah.
But basically, this money is going to be allocated before the 31st of June. There's another budget coming out on the 1st of July where we get $75,000. So let's not get too hung up on this at the moment. But basically, what we need to do is to move the Thames Community Board receive the allocation of Thames Community Board's 2023-24 discretionary budget report dated 5th of June 24, and if you agree, revoke the resolution regarding the $10,000 for visitor signage, or do you want to keep the $10,000 for visitor signage? That's the crux of it.
Can I ask a question about
Robin.
some of the other options in the table that's presented on page 26?
I know.
No, the reason I'm asking is, so $4,952 towards the cost of line marking for basketball and fencing.
Yeah. I think
Which is part of the total cost. Can I just...
Through the chair, we need to sort out recommendations 1 and 2 first before we discuss 3 and its options.
Yeah, so we just got to get into it.
I would like to move that we adopt option 1.
So we have a mover, which is Councillor Rodley.
Recommendations 1 and 2, Martin.
Yes, I mean, we can do them separately. Yes.
Okay, we're doing 1 and 2 together, unless you disagree with the $10,000. Will we be here all afternoon? Do you want the $10,000 revoked, or do you want the $10,000 left in? Pure and simple. If you want it revoked, we'll do it. If you want it left in, we'll do it in 2 parts. If you want it revoked, we'll do it as one motion. The $10,000 does affect the budget on the other page. Utter silence.
My motion to put 1 and 2.
So
The chair asked.
can I just clarify?
The motion.
The motion you're putting is option 1, part 1 and part 2.
At the bottom of page 25, I want to just tell us that we received the report. That way we just get that done and dusted. Just otherwise people are going to be like, yeah, I'll receive the report.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Rodley, seconded by Councillor Sinclair. It's an odd way of doing it, but still. Okay, all those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Right.
Right.
2. The Thames Community Board revoked the resolution number 2, 8, from 29th of November 2023 to allocate $10,000 of visitor signage. Do we have a mover for that, please? Okay, we've got a mover. Do we have a seconder, please? Do we have a seconder? Lapses for. Okay, Board Member McKenzie seconded. I propose to, do you want to discuss it? Do you want?
Yeah, can we have some discussion?
So this is what I just asked the area manager a little while ago.
Yep.
Just
Cool.
how it reflects back on there.
Yep.
The answer was quite different to what our pre-meeting
Okay.
thing was. So we'll call upon Rosalind to explain what will happen with that $10,000 if we revoke it.
So the
thank you.
purpose was to pay for signage for visitors, and they are the signs that were approved by the board in November. However, the quote that we got was over and above the 10,000 for one sign. And so if you choose to retain it. So you want that, if you prefer that funding to be spent on signage before the end of June, we will need to investigate what that might look like. So it could be along the lines of Martin's suggestion and Robin's suggestion, where we look at the community notice board, we look at the display inside the window for the information centre, or some screens, which would mean that we would most likely grant the funding to the lessee, Thames Business Association.
So
we need to get quotes.
My somewhat wretched, so I'm understanding now that clearly we are under time pressure and to have this allocated within the next 3.5 weeks. My concern is that if we do revoke it, my concern is that we are not going to be putting the energy and the effort into the ongoing promotion of Thames, because there's not the money there. Whereas if we were confident in the 3.5 weeks we can come up with something, then I don't want to see us lose momentum in promoting Thames. And I guess I feel that 10,000 is fundamental, or is an important part of that.
So because it's OPEX, it could be used to fund option 2 in this report. Towards it.
So when you say option 2,
so option 2 is to the social media posts on Facebook and Instagram, and the cost is 13,500. So if you retain, if you don't rescind the resolution for the $10,000, the budget is 17,607 as per the report, and therefore you wouldn't have enough to cover all of that.
Right.
Remembering that the recommendation for the fencing and the basketball court marking, part of that, it would be the fencing portion that comes out of the Thames Urban General Purpose Reserve, because it aligns with the purpose of that fund. That fund is for projects.
I find it's kind of like, this is not the way I expect this to go. I expected that we're talking about the $17,000 that was left over. Am I correct? And we're delving,
Yes,
we're delving into marking the courts. We're delving into putting in computer screens into TVA, things like that. It's either what you've got here on the page or it's not. Councillor Rodley?
Yes, I'm very much worried about the 10,000 being potentially put forward to something that's not on here, and that 3.5 weeks would barely give the TBA a chance to get quotes and things. And how would we even? Yeah, that would seem to me to be a little bit of a dubious proposition. Okay. So I'm perfectly happy from the 1st of July to then potentially look at something from the TBA, but I'd like to see it all costed, and we would have to be discussing that as a board. So I don't see the visitor signage project disappearing completely. I see the opportunity to look into that, possibly get some additional quotes and maybe scale down or have them in different places rather than at the Civic Centre. But I don't want to get into a thing about the TBA being allocated some of that money this term. But I would like to open up some discussion on option within recommendation 3, option 1. There's 1, 2, 3 things there, and then within option 2 there's a 4th one there. So I think we should be concentrating on looking at those 4 things, although there is a 5th thing there as well for the fencing. But yeah, I very much see this as hey, we've got money left over from our discretionary budget. We've got some options here. We're looking to spend that money before the end of June. Let's have discussion about how we can spend it.
Board Member Rakwa.
Thanks, Chair. It sounds like we're not sure how we're going to spend money. So just checking, if we don't spend that money and put in our sales fund bucket, the Tuggerah account, once we're sure what we're going to spend it, then we'll take it out from there.
And that's not an option.
So through the chair, the $10,000 that has already been resolved for signage is operational funding. It can't be transferred to Tuggerah.
Yeah, oh, sorry, Councillor Sinclair.
So just to add to that, it will be, if it's unspent, it will be retained earnings for Thames.
Will it?
Thanks, Rose. Your report was quite clear on that. So it seems to me that the reason that I raised the issue of the fact that there's going to be a visitor information centre was really to support that revocation of that $10,000 because we agreed at the time that a sign would be really useful, and in the absence of any other place to put a sign, a freestanding sign made a lot of sense. And that has now changed, and that we've got more access to places that we can put a sign that doesn't need to be freestanding. So with that, I'm really happy to support revoking that money. And if that changes after the 1st of July, for whatever reason, we have a new pot of money coming as part of the discretionary fund for 24-25 that we can dip into. So that's that. And then very clearly, resolution 3 in our report on page 26 talks about what we can do once we've rescinded that decision with the remaining discretionary fund and the additional 10,000 fund. And can we talk about what's on that table in terms of the options yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We'll do this. We've got a motion on the floor.
Remember that I want to. Yeah, so in that case, I'd be really happy to revoke that decision because, as I said, I think we don't need that sign anymore to have the same effect.
Right. Do we have any further discussions on the matter before we propose to put the motion? Moved by Councillor Rodley, seconded by. Right, I propose to put the motion, and this is to revoke its resolution number 8 from 29th November 2023 to allocate $10,000 for visitor signage. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against? Right. It will. Which is interesting because we could have done that in 1 and 2 and saved 20 minutes. All right, now you've got the balance.
So just for clarity, we now have 27,000 to allocate.
27,607.
Which is at top there, $27,607 to be allocated. Now you decide what you want to do.
Oh no, we've just fallen asleep. No, I would like to leave Tuggerah alone, but I would also like to see the completing of the fencing of the half court at Park Park, and so I'm going to suggest removing item 2 entirely, the community centre driver licensing course for 15 participants. They in fact did already receive that amount in our first round of discretionary funding, so they're not totally bereft of funding for that, and add that to the cost of the line marking the basketball court. It has been supremely popular. Every time I've gone past, every time I've been there, it's been heaving with children playing basketball, everybody playing basketball. And I'd really like to see us support that because, as you heard from TRAP this morning, when they were visiting, when Tina and Ro visited all of the schools, that was the primary thing that came forward, is that the youth of Thames want a basketball court that they can play at.
Okay, so you take it $3,155?
If I may be so bold, yes.
No.
And then option 2, invest in initiatives, take whatever's left from the balance. I want to essentially fund the entire line marking. I don't want to touch Tuggerah for this at all.
No,
so that would be
so
the 1350.
Actually adding out $3,155 onto the 27,000.
Yeah, no, so striking out number 2, adding it to number 3,
What's included?
and then taking the balance from number 4.
I might agree with Robin. And if we add a light on that budget somewhere, somehow, that would really be fantastic.
Sorry, what was that?
The lighting by the code. New lighting by the,
So lighting isn't an option on this report, but it is something that could be considered after the 1st of July, because the community board will have more discretionary budget after the 1st of July in accordance with their long-term plan.
I mean, if we delete Thames Community Board Centre to deliver driver license, we can use that
Yes.
money for the lighting or not?
No,
Okay.
you can't supplement.
I believe there was a slight thing down there, and Peter might be able to help me out there, that existing pole that was sort of between the skate park and the warehouse building, there was a pole there that had a light that stopped working. So there's potentially, we're not talking about digging poles and putting cables and things. So yeah, potentially that's something that, as Rose said, we can.
That's
look
right, I've
at for
taken a
next-
note of that.
Look at for next year, potentially very early in next year.
Sure. Yeah.
But we're only discussing items which are on our agenda.
So can I just therefore get clarity about what Councillor Sinclair is suggesting? So I think my understanding is we are saying yes to the $6,000. We're saying no to the 3155.
Yes.
We're saying yes to the 12,500,
Yes.
which adds up to 18,500, which leaves 9,107.
Yeah.
And what happens with the 9,107?
We
That goes
put that to option 4.
to option 4.
Sorry.
Yep, no, that was my intention. So it goes to option
And
4.
so the
that-
9,000
Yes.
goes towards option 4 for that sort of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Did somebody second it?
Yeah, and it comes to 27,600. So 9,107.
I'm happy to put that as a motion, and I've got a seconder.
Right. So you're moving what?
What Peter just said. No,
Moving like an aside.
no, just the numbers. And so,
Okay.
what,
So you're moving,
and my mic is on. And
oh, approve investment. Oh,
so I'm moving.
first time I've been in a meeting with so many chairs.
Approve the
Approve the investment
yep,
of what was the total amount?
27607.
Yep, no.
But when it says
What,
as,
what did you get to your total number of dollars for what you want?
I'm only going to allocate what we have. So
What did you get? 12,500
so
is
that's
one,
6,000 to Parawai School.
it's 80,500, right?
6,000.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So that'll leave us $9,107.
So invest in option 2.
Right, that's straightforward. So then approve the investment of, so we add those, it comes back to $27,607.
Correct.
Thames Community Board discretionary budget as follows, and then you list your things. All right? Happy with that? Right.
Yes, I am.
So shall I go through that just to summarise?
Can you share it on screen? So
Oh, you can put it up on the screen?
Yeah, I probably can.
I'll sit back and relax.
Um,
This is exciting stuff. But hate to be doing something that was 50 or 60 million dollars.
oh, I'm not logged in. I'm not logged in, Jenna. Jenna? I'm not logged in.
Are you logged in?
Okay, I'll just join the meeting. No, I'll do it. I got it.
While the staff sort this out, grab yourself a glass of water or something.
Yeah.
Go.
Here we go. Can everyone see that?
Yep. Just give us the wording.
So we've got $6,000 towards seed funding
Turn it off.
for the youth programs, events and initiatives. We've got 0 for the driver's license.
No, it's just turned off because it's got feeding.
Line marking for the half basketball at Porritt Park, $16.85. Fencing for the half basketball at Porritt Park is $10,815, which comes to option 1 totaling $18,500. Option 2 is the social media posts on Facebook and Instagram at $9,107.
And the grand total?
And the sum of those two is 26,607.
And that was exactly what I wanted to move, and I appreciate the visual. Thank you.
Right. Councillor Rodley?
Can I just ask Councillor Rebel? So I realise we're paying for, and you told us the fact that the contractor was underwriting the basketball court thing. So is this for the fencing that's now there, but is it also for an extension bit above that, or is that just for the fencing that's currently there? Do you happen to know?
I'd have to come back to you on that one, Councillor Rodri.
That's okay. I mean, fencing's fencing. I'm happy, but you know, yeah. And I think
thought there was going to be a return on the, but I don't know.
Yeah, but I think the contractors have been really good, and so I think we need to repay them.
Okay, so we get back to the meeting. So you understand what that is there. Has anybody got any questions about that? So we've got to put that into a motion. That's just what's on the screen. Oh, good girl. Swap over.
So the way that table is in resolution 3 means that resolution 4 can be struck out. We don't need to dip into Tuggerah for this.
I'll read yours. Excellent. Okay, moved by Councillor Rodley. Do we have a seconder, please? Oh. Only reason I'm asking to moved and seconded because that's the first time I've seen up on the screen and it's complete nakedness. Right. So that's gone. Too much. Okay. Anybody got any further discussion? If not, propose to put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, declared carried. And and that, my fellow board members, is a good reason why we need to change how we do our discretionary budgets and have it open like the other 4 boards, so we can make changes throughout our year, financial year. Yeah, with 3.5 weeks to go. That's not the way we work.
So we didn't have all those until recently.
Item 3.2 now, please, Chair.
I was looking for 2.2. Lease proposal, we've done that.
3.2.
Oh, 3.2.
Page 68.
Okay, you've all seen that, oh God, that's too far. Thames Recovery, ownership of branding, digital assets, signs and other collateral to attract visitors.
Can I just say thanks for the support the community board's giving to Porritt Park? It's fantastic.
Support?
Are we on this one?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So this also is a Roslyn Ward report. And I propose to put the motions in two parts, the recommendation. Oh, you want to do the whole thing? Right. So just receiving a report. Okay. Page 73, somebody care to move the recommendation, please? Moved by Councillor Rodley, second by Board Member Mackenzie. That's 3 today. Our roll. Anybody wish to speak to it? Because just be told it's an information only report. Can't make any changes. Councillor Rebel.
Can I just first of all say thank you for this report? I think it's really good, the clarity that it gives. Fantastic. My question is, would Brand Matters and the Thames Business Association have the same understanding that is outlined in this report?
I have sent the report, the draft of the table to Brand Matter, and Thames Business Association are really clear that they're on the ownership of the website. That was decided last year. And in terms of the ownership of Facebook and Instagram, they're also clear on that.
So that's yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Councillor Rodley.
So at the halfway down page 73, well, directly underneath the photo frame picture, it talked about how council staff will revisit the visitor signs that Waka Kotahi didn't approve. Can someone just remind me in 2 sentences or less what those signs were?
So in the pack that we submitted to Waka Kotahi at the end of last year, there were some signs that they didn't support, and there were reasons why they didn't support them. And so we are going to raise this again with Waka Kotahi when we meet with them shortly. They are symbol signs.
They are
Signs with symbols for visitors, visitor
Oh,
symbols.
right. Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
yes.
Not simple signs.
And would they would be signs that we pay for, Waka Kotahi
Well, no,
pay for, we split
in
the
terms of
cost?
ownership, we would be asking them to pay for them.
Cool.
and therefore own them. So all the signs that have been installed are owned as per the table. The signs on the state highway are owned by Waka Kotahi, New Zealand Land Transport Agency. I've got to get used to saying it the other way around.
Any further discussion before I put the recommendation? Being none, proposed to put the recommendation. All those in favour, please say aye. Those against, declared carried. Just an interesting aside. I believe that sign down by McDonald's sign on Queen Street, I think it's incorrectly cited. It's facing the wrong. It's got the offset's the wrong way. The offset should have been the other way. So somebody needs to look at that, because I see council contractors installed those. I thought there would have been Land Transport New Zealand agency contractors to install those. Being on the state highway, but it's definitely facing the wrong angle. Definitely got the wrong angle. If you look at any other signs along that street, they all have the offset the other way. So it makes a bit of a nonsense looking at it. I'm really grumpy about TVA owning the website, Instagram, Facebook page. Board Member Mackenzie and Councillor Rodley.
With respect, Mr. Chair, there are medications you can take to help.
Yeah. Is that the same ones you got? Action schedule, 3.3. Councillor Rodley.
At the top of the table, we have point 4. Alan Young requested a meeting with council to facilitate transfer of parcel of land to council. And in our notes commentary, it says staff conveyed the council's position to the group. Not sure if that was our group, the board, or to the Hauraki prospectors. It then states no further action will be taken until the Department of Conservation expressed interest in the disposal of their land. I'm not happy with that commentary. I believe that council should facilitate a meeting with DOC, and whether the Hauraki prospectors think it would be appropriate for them to come along to that or not, because I believe the no further action until Department of Conservation expressed interest will just mean nothing will ever happen, because why would the Department of Conservation, their position has been, they will look at it if council is in support of receiving that land. And I know there has been a little bit of mixed messages with the Hauraki Prospectors Association, but I think they want this to happen. And if the community board supports it, I think we should be facilitating a meeting with DOC to start this process up.
So through the chair, I have offered to do that and was requested that I don't do that. So I was trying, the aim was to facilitate a meeting and discuss it.
But with respect, that was with one member of the Hauraki Prospectors Association. I don't believe that was their
Position?
opinion and position.
So
and I think the thing with it might have been that they were concerned that someone at DOC who might have strong anti-mining sentiment would look to oppose it.
So with a disposal, we would listen to what they say in terms of are they willing to dispose of that or a part of it, and then because we would be acquiring it, we would treat it as an asset acquisition. And so that was all really the discussion would have been about. And if you think that there is still an opportunity to have that discussion with DOC, then I'm willing to arrange that and raise it. However, I wouldn't want to do that if they aren't supportive of that.
I think there's a lot of mixed messages going around. I think basically all Goldmine Experience was looking for was a letter from the district council saying that they were prepared to accept the land given to them by DOC, and they need the land because one of their buildings crosses the boundary into the DOC land. So they need to secure that land and become part of the heritage reserve.
So I'm not in a position to write a letter on behalf of council to acquire land.
But that's
what
not
I am in a position to do is facilitate a discussion about the possibility.
I think that the Goldmine Experience is past that point. They have docs indicate to them that they'll do a land transfer subject to certain items going their way, but they need it Waitapita. So
what I'd normally do in this situation is I would get a minute from the group confirming, because of the mixed messaging that we've had, confirming that the group is supportive of the next step, which is to have a discussion with DOC.
And if you need any help facilitating that, I'll be happy to talk to members of the Hauraki Prospectors Association.
I'll just make an action for me to contact the group and request that they confirm via a minute from a meeting that the committee is in support of us meeting with DOC.
okay, any other items on the action schedule? Has there been none? Can the Thames Community Board receive the action schedule report dated 16th of May 2024. To have a mover, please. Thank you, Board Member Rakwa. Seconded by Board Member Mackenzie. All those in favour, please say aye. I just saw it out of the corner of my eye. Those against, declared carried. 3.4. Can someone please move the Thames Community Board receive the Chairperson's Report dated 16th of May 2023. I'll move it. After asking that question. I'll move it. Seconded by Board Member Rakwa. All those in favour, please say aye. Those against, declared carried. Now we're going to public excluded items. Moved by
Second.
Councillor Revell, second by Councillor Rodley.
Thank you, Rick.